I probably should have saved last video's title for this one because does anyone actually remember the Gallows? I watched this movie way back when I still had Comcast on demand and I remember it being scary, but I was also young and it was at night. With a whopping 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, let's see if this forgotten found footage horror should have indeed stayed forgotten. We start off with a crowd looking at a stage. Oh, it's a school play. I remember those. How old are you? One of these days, I'm locking you back in the basement. The date on the footage is a couple days before Halloween in 1993. During this performance, you can hear a couple of audience members talking behind the camera. We can imply that the boy on stage is named Charlie. Not sure what the plot is, but from what I can see, these two are in love. Someone is coming after the boy, they kiss, and all of a sudden he's being executed?
Oh my god.
So this guy's being executed because he's a poor boy from a poor family, spared him his life from his monstrosity, stealing, adultery, fraternizing with a noble. So the girl he's in love with must be from the upper crust. Her father probably found out and now he has to die. Why not just kick him out the village? No wonder so many plays take place from this time period. Everybody was so dramatic. Okay, so keep in mind, the hanging is supposed to be fake. But unfortunately, while the scene is still going, the floor beneath Charlie caves in and he breaks his neck on impact. Now, I will admit, the hanging looks a little bit too real for me. And yeah, that's kind of the point, but it just sent chills down my spine. A lot of loud noises, hysteria breaks out, everyone is calling Charlie's name, and the grainy footage on top of that, this is a strong opening scene. Too bad it doesn't last. We cut to modern day where the same play is being done with a new generation of students. However, the guy on stage is not doing too well. He's stuttering and mumbling through his lines, so they all take a break. The person behind the camera is clowning him, and this is Ryan, whose real name is also Ryan. In fact, everybody in the main cast has their real name, just with different last names. And I know they're not going for the "this actually happened" trope because one, this movie isn't clever enough for that, and two, the dialogue sounds like AI years before AI was even a thing. 5 minutes in and I already hate the way these characters are talking. This is gonna be so much fun. The guy who bombed on stage is named Reese, and he's an ex-football player. And while Ryan is clowning him, he says, "You're choking worse than Charlie did."
What did he say?
Dude, who says something like that? Like, yeah, dark humor, I guess. But it just seems like he was trying to be edgy with this joke, and Reese looks at him like he lost his mind. Alright, so I hate Ryan, but he's only one of the main characters, so no big deal. Ryan continues to chastise Reese for being in theater because, yes, for some reason, it's the biggest deal when a jock has other interests besides the sports he plays. Wait, you enjoy pursuing hobbies and interests to better yourself? This guy's a fucking loser. The cheerleaders are practicing and Ryan is flirting with their coach because that's definitely school appropriate. Although she does blow him a kiss and smile. Maybe we should do a little investigation on Miss Shannon here. We see everyone on the field practicing, then the camera flips around to another one of our main characters. Meet Cassidy, your textbook blonde cheerleader captain who's checking herself out in the camera lens. Also, I don't even know if she's the captain, I'm just sticking with it for plot purposes. Then she blows some very awkward looking kisses. Like she's trying to be cute or whatever, but it's not landing the way she thought it would. Like, what the fuck is this? This is the position they take your school pictures in and expect you to not come out looking like a serial killer. Ryan comes up to yell at Cassidy about touching his camera, and the dialogue in this movie so far is insufferable. Everyone talks like they just learned what talking was today. Like two of his teammates walk up and rag on him about being in drama, and one of the guys is like, "Are you defending your drama buddies?" And Ryan's like, "Yeah, well, your mom." What? What the fuck? What type of comeback was that? The joke didn't even make sense in the context of the conversation. The only tolerable one so far is Reese, and he's barely been on screen, so maybe that's saying something. Ryan gets yelled at by his coach, and one of the theater kids joins in. And for some reason, Ryan's like, "I'm gonna prove to you guys that those theater weirdos are not my friends." Then chucks a football at one of the kids' heads. Also, he looked at his direction before he threw this ball. How did he not see him preparing to launch this thing? I think he deserved to get hit with that ball. All of his teammates dap him up, and he want to look at the camera all guilty. See what happens when you try to fit in, kids? Ryan starts walking through the hallway. Does no one go to class in this school? I haven't seen a lick of academics going on in this movie so far. He stops by the framed picture of the original cast of the Gallows, which is the name of the movie but also the name of the play. And everyone's in the picture, including Charlie. Then Ryan comments saying it's extremely morbid that they still have his picture up here. Were you not the same one who made a joke earlier at this kid's expense? Don't flip the script now that you're alone, buddy boy. Finally, some actual school going on in said school. The drama teacher is giving them the rundown on what's going on and saying the big show is tomorrow. Pfeiffer, interesting name, goes up front to talk to the class. And I can tell who's the overachiever in this class. Very cutesy, very sentimental, probably cusses her dad out because a Ferrari was blue and not pink. The usual suspect. I'd also like to note that while Ryan is backstage, he runs into more of his football buddies making jokes and they're like, "It's a mandatory class, man." If it's a mandatory class, then why were you getting on Reese so much before? He was like, "You're really doing theater?" Motherfucker, you're doing theater. Just because you're not on stage doesn't mean you're not actively participating. Ryan is messing with some old hangman masks that are not supposed to be touching, but for some reason it's still in the chest full of stage costumes. house. And the teacher gets mad at him, but why was this not hidden somewhere that no one can get to? And Ryan is so cringe. Like, I know I can be cringe at times, but he's just an edgelord for edgelord's sake. Isn't that like all edgelords? I'm not qualified to answer that, but maybe? The teacher is like, please, can you take this serious? Ryan, of course, says yes, but we all know he's lying through his teeth. Guys, I've never hated a character more in a horror movie than I do right now. He's the only death that I will not be sad about later on. Wait a minute. Cassidy is dating Ryan? You mean to tell me these two are together? You actually like this guy, Cass? Like, I don't know you, but I know you should have higher standards. Not even 5 seconds later, he makes another joke about Charlie being dead. Cassidy, dump this guy. It's crazy how he's the face we've seen the most so far, and he's like low-key a villain. Then he tries talking to the kid that he assaulted with a football earlier and is confused on why he's giving him the cold shoulder. Yeah, you're right. I should totally forgive you for my potential concussion. Reese is bombing on stage once again. Ryan turns the camera around and spots a lady he's been seeing at practice every day. He suspects she's not anyone's parent, so he walks up to her, and it turns out she was in the original play. Which, okay, I guess that makes sense. But only if this was for a different play. Like, I'd understand if this play was like popular in the 90s and the school moved on or something. But the reason they stopped doing this play is because a kid was accidentally hanged on stage. Why would you want to revisit this memory? I'd be staring clear the fuck away from this production. Ryan talks to some of the other adults. One of the ladies saying how some possible supernatural stuff might be going on in the school. I'm sure that'll be relevant later. Oh my god, more terrible dialogue. Ryan finds out that Reese has a crush on Pfeiffer and goes to tell her about it. And the way he asks these questions is just obnoxious. So, Pfeiffer, you and Reese, what's the story there?
Here. Please hit me as hard as you can.
Can we get a tally on screen of how many times Ryan has made a dead Charlie joke? That's 3 too many. He also keeps saying hopefully he doesn't choke like Charlie did. First of all, the kid didn't miss an important line and run off stage in embarrassment. He died. I hate this character. And you know, I've had my fair share of interactions with Karma, and what they say about her is true. She can indeed be a bitch. One of the theater kids decides to get back at Ryan and pulls a prank on him. Sucks to suck, Ryan. The kid's name is Price, by the way. Ryan chases Price and pins him up against the wall, but he gets saved by the drama teacher who doesn't punish Ryan for this? He's just like, Ryan, stop. What do we talk about? Are you gentle parenting right now? You're enabling this behavior. Ryan finds some busted up exit door to the school and asks one of the students about it, and she tells him it's broken. Then he gets a bright idea and runs over to Reese. Guys, I promise you, I'm not exaggerating. This is how they talk. Dude, we can like totally sneak in and ruin the play so you don't have to do it anymore. Oh my god, you like Pfeiffer? If I don't go through with this play, everyone will hate me. I owe it to them. I owe it to Pfeiffer. Is this how NPCs talk when they're by themselves and the player isn't around? Are you an 80s action hero? Why are you talking like this is a matter of life or death? Like if you don't do the play, the school blows up at midnight or some shit. Let's give it up for the only Ryan W so far because he tells Reese the truth. He sucks at acting, which is a little mean, but sometimes you need that little push to get better. He comes up with a plan to sneak into school after hours and ruin the stage set. And then while everyone's devastated, he can swoop in to comfort Pfeiffer. Cassidy asks what time they're doing this, but Reese never agreed? He just shook his head and scoffed. Ryan tells Cassidy he can't come in the most elementary school way. You're like a girl who does girl stuff. You don't know anything about cool things and ruining school plays at night. What the fuck does that even mean? I've never seen a guy with a girlfriend who gives off such girls have cooties vibes. Anyway, she gives him a look and he agrees to let her come. We then get the dumbest jump scare ever with Ryan popping up out of frame out of nowhere. Then he's about to tell us something, but his mom bursts into his room and he jumps up like he was whacking it. Dude, calm down. If anything, you look more guilty with the way you reacted. He picks up Cassidy and then they both go to Reese's house. And he just walks in, didn't knock or ring a doorbell, just walks into this kid's house and eavesdrops on the argument Reese is having with his dad. His dad telling him he doesn't want him to do the play and that he should have stayed on the football team. And then when the conversation is over and they're about to leave, he greets Reese's dad with his full name. In what world is this appropriate? I have never called any of my friends or significant others' parents by their first name. He greeted him like they were old college buddies or something. But then like 3 seconds later, he calls him Mr. Hauser. Nothing makes sense around here. As they're heading to the school, they're asking Reese about why he's attracted to Pfeiffer. Never understood these type of conversations because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Also, the lighting in this car is horrendous. It gave everybody terrible tans. They make it to the school and successfully get in through the broken door. They're about to head to the stage, but Ryan stops them and says he got to do something first. He breaks into Price's locker, the kid from earlier, and decides to get back at him for what he did. The way Ryan talks is borderline infuriating. Look at this face. This dumb, punchable looking face. Hashtag Ryan sucks in the comments. He puts holes in his shirt where his nipples should be. Wow, so creative. Look at how happy he is at this stupid prank. He also brought a miniaturized version of the shirt, which is actually a little bit funny. Only a little bit though. He goes to put the prank shirts in Price's locker, and while he's doing doing that, one of the lockers above him opens by itself, and it slams shut, but at the exact same time as Ryan shuts Price's locker. So the sound is masked, which I don't know if the ghost did that on purpose, but I kind of like it. It makes you double check to make sure you're not hearing things. Ryan even looking around after it happens. He makes it back to Reese and Cassidy, and they head onto the stage. Reese is like, let's hurry up and do this so we can go home, and Ryan is like, sure thing, and proceeds to do a slow pan of the entire auditorium. What part of hurry up did you miss, Ryan? This is all to lead up to another, you guessed it, cheap jump scare. Cassidy is throwing the prop glass onto the floor, and Ryan's confused, but dude, we came here to ruin a set, so let's ruin a set. Chop, chop. Ryan's like, ooh, I want to try, and proceeds to knock over 2 potted plants. Whoa there, Ryan. Slow your road, you're out of control. Please let him die first. Most of their dialogue sounds improvised in the worst possible way. Ryan tells Reese to reenact some of his lines for shits and giggles, and Reese actually does a decent job, hinting that he probably only gets nervous because he's saying those lines to Pfeiffer rather than him just being a sucky actor overall. However, they hear a door in the distance and they all scurry away so they don't get caught. They don't see anybody, so they try to leave and they run into Pfeiffer? What the hell are you doing here? Also, bad news for Reese. She says she wants to talk to him, so Ryan leaves the camera light for them so they can see, totally disclosing that he's still filming, because why would he not tell them that? Also, her reaction to running into them earlier was so dramatic. Theater kid coded for sure. She pretty much asked him a million questions, not letting him answer at least one. He comes up with a sort of half lie, pretty much telling her the same things he told Ryan and Cassidy earlier about not being confident and not wanting to let her down with his performance in the show. Which is true, but you also came here to destroy everything. She buys it, and in turn, it buys them some time. Oh god, he even looks like an ass hat in night vision. Cassidy is freaking out because she thinks Pfeiffer is onto them, and she wants to leave. She also has no cell service for some reason. Why is that your lock screen? That is a sin against humanity. That's like illegal in several countries, I think. This is also the second time Ryan tries to put his foot down with Cassidy, but she gives him a look and he immediately backs down. I don't like the way he talks to her. In fact, I don't like the way he talks to anybody. But somehow, in a weird, sick and twisted way, he is the only interesting character on screen right now. Reese has the personality of a CC's pizza, and Cassidy is just here at this point. But don't twist my words, Ryan still sucks by default. Door's locked. What? I said the door's locked. What door? I hadn't even got to that scene yet. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Ryan and Cassidy go to leave, and when they get to the exit, door's locked. God damn it. They start freaking out, and I love how Reese's facial expressions match the situation, but then he gives a vocal performance of a 2K cutscene.
All right, because if I have to learn anything, it's that you have to tune out the noise. Only things that matter is what happened between the lines.
That's right. We all have that attitude. The train will be rolling in no time. Let's do it.
That a young buck like you could actually do the right thing and avoid getting his sorry butt kicked out the game.
You ever seen a clip of a Real Housewives show? Or maybe an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Yeah, either one of those would have been better dialogue than the lines said in these scenes. Everyone is arguing. Some of their lines are obviously dubbed. Cassidy for some reason outs them for wanting to ruin the set. I don't know why you needed to tell Pfeiffer this. She believed the lie. You could have all still freaked out without this piece of information being a thing. Pfeiffer walks off and everyone chases after her. What are these faces that Reese keeps making? It's like his acting coach told him to put all his emotion into his face and not his throat. What type of freaky ass shit? His voice. I meant his voice. Christ. Reese tells Ryan to shut up because he's making things worse, and for some reason Ryan's like, this play is an embarrassment, we need to stop this. What does that have to do with our current situation, Ryan? And what is your beef with this play? It is a school play. No one will remember this in 15 years. You're not going to be in high school forever. They get back to the stage and the noose is hung back up. Forgot to mention they took it down earlier when they were trashing the set. Also, the pieces they took off the platform are back too. Oh my god, so spooky. I need a drink. Pfeiffer's like practicing my ass, and Reese's entire face during this scene is this. Reese, please work with me. Are you anxious, worried, constipated? Why do you look like you just snorted the fattest line of the world's best cocaine? Reese says there's a phone in the office, so maybe they can call for help. Reese picks up the phone, and okay, I promise you, this is exactly how he delivered this line. Reese, did you find anything? The phone's dead. Was a librarian your dialogue coach? I don't know how nobody died of laughter in this scene. The faces, the delivery, it's all comedic gold. Reese tries to plead his case with Pfeiffer one more time, but she curves the shit out of him. And I figured it out. It's constipation. He really has to take a shit right now because that's the only explanation for these facial expressions. All of a sudden we see Pfeiffer looking around the corner and she's like, guys? Which usually means you see something weird or scary or possibly dangerous. So they follow her around the corner and we go from filing boxes to filing cabinets. Oh my god, the horror. I don't even think I can show this on YouTube. And they find a hidden door. Now, rewind that. It would have had much more impact if she turned the corner and was like, guys, and it leads directly into the secret door. But instead we get this fucking intermission in the middle for some reason. Building suspense, I guess? Only if walking down a hallway gets your timbers shivering, to each his own. They open the door and Another hallway. My God, how did they allow this in theaters? It ends up leading to like a secret school or something. At least that's what it looks like. Then Pfeiffer's like, oh my gosh. Proceeds to walk down another long ass hallway. Another secret door. No, no, and more no. Why would you have the reaction so early? It took them, and I counted, 30 seconds to get to this door, and mind you, it's pitch black in this hallway, so there's no way you could have seen this door from that far away. Inside the room, they find some old mannequins, a bunch of props, and miscellaneous items. They happen upon an old staticky TV, which starts to play news coverage of when Charlie died, and we come to learn that the lady from before at practice was Charlie's girlfriend. Okay, well, that's a little weird. Like, I don't know if I would want to return to the place my potential first love died right in front of me. We then learned that the character that Charlie was playing actually was not the character he was supposed to be playing. He was the understudy, and his original character was the hangman. And I remember back in the beginning where those people were having those conversations behind the camera, one of them mentioned that Charlie was doing so good and the show is actually going well considering the last minute change. That change probably being who Charlie was going to portray. More staticky footage, and then Charlie's face flashes on the screen and it cuts to someone else, who Reese recognizes, but before he can figure it out, it cuts off. Also, there's no tape in this VCR. Who would have thought? Reese runs off explaining nothing and everyone just chases after him. They make it back to the old photo of the original cast from the play, more constipation from Reese and them asking him what's going on and why is he acting like this. And once again, he says nothing. What almost made me laugh is that while he's doing this, you can hear Cassidy in the background like, what's he doing? I don't know, Cass, I'm just as lost as you are. Reese falls against the wall. Pfeiffer's like, okay, let me use my context clues. And we find out the original person that was meant to play August in the play was Reese's dad.
Wow.
August being the name of the poor boy from the poor family, which isn't really that big of a deal. Like, yeah, your dad was the original lead. I don't know if that deserves this dramatic of a reaction. He looks like he just found out he was adopted. And wait a minute. This picture has always been here. Why are you just now realizing this is your dad? Maybe you didn't pay attention to the picture at first, running through the hallways trying to get to those classes no one goes to. But it's hard to believe you didn't look at this picture at least once and recognize who that was. You're playing the same part. Then Cassidy yells out, oh my God, where's Ryan? They look around and he is indeed missing. Oh my God. Ryan's missing. Whatever will we do? So you guys want to go to Taco Bell after this, or? We cut to Ryan still running, telling Reese to give him his camera back, and that's a good question. Why did Reese take the camera? Of course, we needed to see the scene of him discovering his dad was in the play, but there was no plot point that makes sense for why Reese needed to grab this camera. Other than the audience needs to see what's going on, you know, that audience that the characters don't know exist. Right. Anyway, Ryan got lost in the secret school and finds a maintenance door cracked open. Inside, he finds a bunch of old junk and a freshly eaten meal. Someone's down here with us. I wonder who it is. What? Yeah, buddy, me too. He finds a secret little hobbit hole and goes to check it out. In there is a chair and like a makeshift bed. He looks up at a hole in the ceiling and starts zooming in on something? I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. This looks like an underwater Tim Burton set. We hear someone scream in the background and Ryan goes to see who it is. They all meet back up and Ryan's mad because he got left in the dark, but no time for that because they got to tell Ryan about this revelation they've made. And they're all freaking out still about Reese's dad being the one who called in sick and therefore forcing Charlie to be the lead. And Reese is like, this is very important. But why? Why is this important right now? I could understand if they were attacked already or maybe saw or heard some scary shit, but the only supernatural thing we've seen so far is a locker opening and closing by itself. Then Reese is like, my dad backed out, so that's why Charlie died. How did you make this correlation? At this point in the movie where nothing has happened, what would make you think that Charlie's death was anything more than an accident? Someone please find me a piggy bank because none of this is making sense. They hear a noise in the distance and everyone freezes. Someone starts walking above them and it stops right above Cassidy and she gets lifted up by a force we can't see. And Ryan's reaction to this is not the normal reaction of a worried boyfriend. The way he yells her name is more like he sees her from a distance and wants to get her attention. Not, oh my God, she just got lifted up by no one and now has a fat bruise on her neck. Also, everyone's arguing and talking over each other, which is totally the most efficient way to calm down and figure out a plan. Cassidy tells Ryan to fuck off and he walks away. Finally, Cassidy, you deserve so much better. He finds Reese, and if I haven't convinced you of how piss poor this dialogue is, just listen to this.
Reese, dude, talk to me. We need to figure this out. What is happening? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, what was that with Cassidy? The TV? What was your dad doing there? What is that about? Stop it. What do you mean, stop it? Cassidy's hurt and you haven't said anything?
Do normal people communicate this way? Ryan, you have no right to be mad at Reese about anything. You guys are making something out of nothing. And I can tell it's just to move the plot along because the ways they meet these conclusions are lazy as fuck. Somehow Ryan says to Reese that he might be the reason all this bad stuff is happening. Not only is Ryan a shitty person, he's also a shitty friend. The moment you find out Reese's dad was in the play and now all of a sudden it's all his fault.
What?
While Ryan and Reese are arguing, the ropes behind them start moving by themselves. Side note, Ryan and Reese could be an alternate universe version of Drake and Josh, but plot twist, it's trash. Cassidy and Pfeiffer break it up, and Pfeiffer notices a vent in the distance, which could be a way out for them. Bit of a stretch, but it could work. Ryan starts being a dickhead again. What else is new? And we get to the best part of the movie. As Ryan is about to open the vent, boom, gets launched off the ladder. I prayed for times like this. Am I a shitty person? Maybe. But if I'm a public bathroom, then Ryan's a porta potty, and I'd argue one of those is worse. Oh my God, you guys, his leg is broken. That's so sad. Here, let me play you a song on the world's tiniest violin. So they run off to, I'm guessing, the nurse's office or somewhere, and you're probably thinking, it only makes sense for Reese and Pfeiffer to go get some help. Cassidy is Ryan's girlfriend, so she should stay with him, is what I would be saying if that actually happened. But for some reason, we turn around and see Cassidy screaming Reese's name, and the door to the auditorium is locked. Cassidy. Why did you leave him? Even Reese is like, Cassidy, what the fuck? I told you to stay with him. Also, the door was a pull and they were doing a push. Semantics. It magically unlocks and Ryan is nowhere to be found. They find his phone and it's all shattered and broken. And Pfeiffer starts breaking down behind the camera for some reason. Listen, I get this is their friend and all. Wait a minute. Pfeiffer and Ryan weren't even friends. Besides the point. You're not gonna get me to feel bad for Ryan like I didn't just watch the first half of this movie. He still sucks. Reese goes to look for him, but then Cassidy starts hyperventilating again. And Pfeiffer yells at Reese to help her. Pfeiffer, you are right next to her. Get the camera out of her face and you help her. Just standing over here documenting her fighting for her life. The wound on her neck from earlier has gotten worse somehow, so Reese grabs her and it cuts. Camera cuts back on, but this time it's the other mini camera that Ryan had, and we get to see what happened to him. Also, I had to put the puzzle pieces together for that because it was such a jarring switch of scenes. At first I thought they found Ryan, but when I saw Cassidy run out those doors, I realized it was a flashback. Ryan's leg looks like this. Ew. Ryan yells at Cassidy to do something, so she runs off to get Reese like he's a fucking doctor or something. The door slams shut, we get an upside down view of Ryan getting dragged away by something. The camera cuts back to the door, and 53 minutes into this movie, and we finally see Charlie on screen. Remember how Barry from The Flash used to phase his face so people couldn't see it? Yeah, Charlie's got that effect going on, but his whole body for some reason. He disappears while Ryan is calling for help, and as Ryan looks around to see where he went, he's lifted up with a noose around his neck being taken into the abyss. Well, Ryan's dead. So about that Taco Bell. A few minutes later, we see the scene of them finding the camera, which I thought was a phone earlier, my bad. Oh, there's his phone. Reese heads back to Pfeiffer and Cassidy is not looking too good. Reese says he may have found an exit, but in reality, he's just gonna throw a trophy up at the window. As he's about to throw it, his phone starts ringing, but not from his pocket. He goes to a random locker, and somehow his phone is in it with a lock on it in a combination he does not know. And on top of that, his dad is calling him. This night just keeps getting better, doesn't it? He uses the trophy to break off the lock and answers the phone, but the audio quality is incoherent. Then it cuts to Reese saying the lines of his character. He wants me. He's coming for me. In a fit of rage, Reese throws his phone full force into the wall. Great job, Reese. Speaking of incoherent, I can barely hear anything in this scene. Reese is talking so low I can barely make out what he's saying. He calls the play stupid and says sorry if he offended Pfeiffer. Guys, fuck the play. Your friend is missing / dead, and there's freaky supernatural shit going on right now. There's more important things to be worrying about than the school play. We then cut to probably the best shot in this movie. Cassidy sitting alone in this hallway. The cinematography, how wide the shot is, the red light emitting over the entire scene, I actually really like this. If this shot was in a better movie, it would enhance it. But since it's in this movie, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. A great ominous shot at the back end of a really bad movie. While Cassidy is crying to herself, Charlie slides in behind her. And that's not an exaggeration, he actually slides into frame. It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I feel like it would be creepier if he was walking, but no, they decided he should Jamiroquai his way onto camera. Cassidy picks up the camera to check out the wound on her neck, and props to the makeup team because that looks disgusting. She turns as she hears a noise behind her, and when she turns back, there's a noose around her neck. I think I know where this is going. Get over here! And miraculously, just as she's killed, Reese and Pfeiffer come back. I like to imagine this is how Goku feels. Pulls up and everyone's already dead. Poor Yamcha. Reese thinks they should pull the fire alarm, and Pfeiffer's like, he's gonna find us. Who? How could you possibly know that Charlie is after you? You haven't seen him yet. In fact, the only person who has physically seen him is Ryan, and he's dead. It would have made more sense if she said it's about to find us, implying they don't know exactly what's after them. Pfeiffer pulls the fire alarm, and they both hug in hopes of finally being able to leave. As they have their celebratory hug, something creeps up in the shadows. It disappears, and then Charlie makes an appearance behind Pfeiffer. They make a run for it and climb up the ladder, and Charlie's at the bottom like, you do know I can teleport, right? He grabs towards the camera, and it glitches, and in my head I'm like, Reese is dead? But no, he's completely fine. A few moments later, you can see him closing the hatch so Charlie can't get to them. So what the hell was the fake out kill earlier about? They start running again, and they burst through a door. Pfeiffer turns around like, I don't want to go in there. What are you talking about, Pfeiffer? We are actively getting chased by a ghost who will kill us if he catches us. We don't have time for you getting scared to go into a dark room. Anyway, they continue forward, since I guess Charlie got tired or something. They find a crumpled up Polaroid of the same cast photo we've been seeing all movie. Then Reese bumps into Ryan's body?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. I was serious about the Taco Bell, by the way. Pfeiffer backs into the feet of Cassidy's hanging body. Also unfortunate, poor Cassidy. See what happens when you pick losers, Cassidy? You get killed by a vengeful spirit of a teenage boy. And they hug again? Listen, I know you guys are trying to have a moment, but hugging next to your dead friends might not be the most appropriate thing to be doing right now. Then Reese goes into action movie hero mode again. Listen, I'm gonna get you out of here. I won't leave you behind. over my dead body. All right, Reese, wrap it up. They head back down and Reese is confused on why no one is there, considering they did pull the fire alarm earlier. Reese then finds the exit door wide open. Holy shit. Okay, cool. We can finally head out and go home. Wait, where's Pfeiffer? And we're going back in. Reese finds Pfeiffer on stage struggling to breathe, and all of a sudden the stage light comes on and the POV goes from the hand camera to the stage camera. Oh, I see what's going on. They're gonna have to act their way out of here. I prefer singing and dancing, but this'll do. They act out their lines and then kiss. Nice, Reese. You finally got her, man. Too bad about that whole dying thing. Yeah, at this point, Reese realizes what he has to do. He must sacrifice himself. Wait, what? Why? Why does Reese have to sacrifice himself? His dad is still very much alive. That's the person you should have beef with, Charlie. And yeah, I know, his dad is not in the play, but there could have been some way to get him to the school to take your revenge, rather than his son who had nothing to do with you dying, and also wasn't even alive yet when it happened. I'd imagine if they never snuck into the school, Charlie probably would have taken his revenge during the actual play, and make Reese's death look like another accident. The school would probably never do this play again, or get shut down, one of the two. Anyway, back to Reese dying or whatever. He wraps a noose around his neck, awaiting his demise. And Pfeiffer is free to go, but for some reason she's still doing her lines. We see Charlie appear behind Reese and he prepares for the execution. Reese is yelling at her, asking her why she's not leaving. And then it happens. Yep, just like that. Reese is dead. And Pfeiffer doesn't have a reaction. She goes to take a bow and we see Charlie do the same next to her. What the hell does that mean? We then see the lights come on in the audience and Charlie's girlfriend is there? So did she have something to do with this? Is she a witch or some shit? Also, Pfeiffer is just staring at Reese's body. Still no reaction. Did she get possessed? Is she still possessed? So many questions and actually some answers. Oh, that's a nice change for once. Because the next scene we get footage from police entering a house and we come to find out that Charlie's girlfriend is Pfeiffer's mom, which means that she's Charlie's daughter? What the fuck type of plot twist? Pfeiffer, what the fuck? I actually kinda liked you. Oh, that's the reason why she kept yelling at Ryan whenever he said Charlie's name. So she's like creepily brushing her hair as they watch footage of the old play, which I guess is cool. Come on, honey, let's watch her dad die for the 15th time while we eat dinner tonight. Great mother-daughter bonding. They both look at him like this, and kudos to the casting team because they actually look like mother and daughter. The police officer calls for his partner, but he's a little hung up at the moment. I get it. He turns back around to see Charlie standing there. We get one last jump scare and it cuts to the title card. And that, my friends, is The Gallows. This movie was terrible. Oh, where do I start? From the House of Dead quality dialogue, the acting, the story. It was a cool little plot twist at the end, I guess. But once again, why did they not kill Reese's dad instead? Also, I realized the food that Ryan found earlier most likely belongs to Alexis. That's the name of Charlie's baby mama. But we don't see her until the end, and it doesn't make sense for her to be there until we see the last scene of the movie. Also, how long has Pfeiffer gone to this school? No one has met her mom before? And I guess that's the plot twist of it all, but still stupid. I thought maybe Charlie was confined to the walls of the school, but nope, he can come out. We see that when he kills the cops in their house. If they had such a beef with his family, it would make sense for the guy who called in sick himself to be the main target. The sins of the parents are passed down to the children, I guess, but I never understood that. Of course you don't want your parents to die, at least I hope not. This shit still had nothing to do with me. I wasn't even born yet. And what the hell happens when they find 3 dead high school students at the school in the morning and 2 dead police officers in your house? I hope Charlie is good at hiding bodies because you're all going to jail. Oh god, I feel like I lost brain cells watching this. Have you seen The Gallows? And if you have, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it, unless you need a good laugh and some cheap scares. But even then, I feel like there's better movies for that. Much appreciation to the new people who joined the channel. I've been reading all of your comments and I appreciate them. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed today's video.